Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. What I'm about to tell you will change how you see everything beneath your feet. My name is Marcus Reed, former Marine, Force Reconnaissance, 12 years active duty. 3 tours I can talk about, for I can't. When they approached me in 2019 about a contractor position at Groom Lake, what you call Area 51, I thought I'd seen everything warfare could show a man. I was wrong. They don't tell you everything in the briefing. They can't. Some knowledge has to be earned through exposure, through standing in rooms that smell like copper and ozone, through hearing sounds that make your teeth ache. But they tell you enough to sign the NDA, enough to accept the pay grade that comes with 20-year federal prison sentences for disclosure violations. Sublevel 9. That's where I worked. Most people think Area 51 is about aircraft, stealth technology, experimental propulsion. They're right about levels 1 through 3. Below that, the base changes. The concrete gets older, darker. The air systems hum at frequencies that sit wrong in your chest. And the security protocols stop being about keeping people out. They're about keeping things in. I reported for duty on September 3rd, 2019. 0600 hours. The elevator descent took 4 minutes. Straight down. No stops, your ears popping 3 times as the pressure shifts. When the doors opened, I stepped into a corridor that stretched 300 feet in both directions, gunmetal gray, lit by recessed LEDs that cast no shadows. Captain Valdez met me at the checkpoint. 40-something. Weathered face, eyes that had stopped being surprised by anything years ago. Reed, welcome to the terrarium. She scanned my biometric badge. You've been read into UMBRA clearance, correct? Yes, ma'am. Then you know we house biological assets down here. Non-human entities. Some recovered from craft. Some older. She started walking. Her boots echoing. Your job is simple. Monitor containment wing C. 12-hour shifts. You observe, you log, you report. You do not interact. You do not enter occupied cells without a 3-man team and direct authorization. Understood. Understood. We passed through 2 more checkpoints, each requiring retinal scan and voice confirmation. The corridor branched. Temperature dropped. I could smell something now, faint organic, like sun-baked stone after rain. Sublevel 9 houses 14 entities. Valdez continued. 12 are comatose or non-responsive. 2 are active. She stopped at a reinforced door marked C-07. This is your station. Through the observation window, I saw it. The room beyond was 30 feet square, walls covered in something that looked like dark glass but moved slightly, shimmering. In the center, on a raised platform surrounded by electromagnetic field generators, sat a figure, 7 feet tall, bipedal, humanoid but wrong in every proportion. The torso was too long, the limbs too articulated, bending at joints that shouldn't exist. The skin, I still struggle with calling it skin, was scaled, iridescent, shifting between deep green and bronze depending on the angle of light. The head was elongated, ridge-crested, with eyes that were too large and entirely black, reflective like volcanic glass. It sat perfectly still. Hadn't moved in 3 hours, according to the log. But those eyes tracked Valdez as we stood at the window. Subject C-07, she said, voice flat. Retrieved 1989, location classified. Biologically active, cardiovascular system functional. Brain activity off the charts. Patterns we can't decipher. It doesn't eat. Doesn't sleep in any way we recognize. Just sits there, watching. What does it want? I asked. Valdez looked at me. That's the question everyone asks eventually. You'll learn to stop. She handed me a tablet. Log any movement, any vocalization, any change in the EM field. If the containment integrity drops below 70%, you hit the panic button and evacuate. The blast doors will seal automatically. And if it breaches containment? She smiled, but there was no humor in it. Pray it doesn't happen on your shift. She left me there, alone with the observation window and the thing behind it. I spent the first hour reading files. Subject C-07's history was sparse, heavily redacted. The recovery operation involved 6 casualties. The initial containment team reported psychological distress and had to be rotated out after 48 hours. There were medical notes about recurring nightmares, shared imagery among personnel who'd never met. Recommendation: limit exposure duration, monitor for empathic bleed-through. I looked up from the tablet. The creature had turned its head. Facing me now, those black eyes locked onto mine through the reinforced glass. My mouth went dry. It didn't blink, didn't move, just stared with an intensity that felt physical, like pressure building behind my forehead. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears, too loud, too fast. Then it opened its mouth. No sound came to the glass. The room was acoustically sealed, but I saw the rows of teeth, translucent and needle-sharp. And I saw something else. The inside of its throat glowed faintly bioluminescent, pulsing in rhythm, the same rhythm as my heartbeat. I stepped back from the window, checked the EM field readings. Stable. Containment integrity at 92%. Everything normal, but the pressure in my head remained. I forced myself to look away, to focus on the monitor feeds from other cells. Subject C-03, comatose in a gel suspension tank. Subject C-11, a smaller variant, curled in the corner of its cell like a sleeping lizard. When I looked back at C-07, it had returned to its original position, motionless, as if nothing had happened. I logged the observation. Subject briefly oriented toward observer. No breach. No vocalization. My hand was shaking when I typed it. That was my first day. I should have requested a transfer then. Should have walked into Valdez's office and told her I wasn't equipped for this assignment. But I didn't. Pride, maybe, or the paycheck, or something deeper. A need to understand what I was seeing. That need would almost kill me. Part 2, target, 1,000 words. The first week passed in a routine that felt like drowning. 12-hour shifts. 0600 to 1800. Then back up to level 1. Through decontamination, past 3 security checks, into the Nevada sun that felt like a memory of the real world. I drive 40 minutes to contractor housing, bland apartments in a complex surrounded by chain link and surveillance, eat something microwaved, and lie awake until exhaustion won. Because when I slept, I heard the sound. A low-frequency hum, barely audible, felt more than heard. It vibrated in my bones, resonated in my teeth, and beneath it, something else, a rhythm, a pattern, almost like language, but wordless. I wasn't the only one. In the Sublevel 9 break room on day 6, I met Davis and Chun, fellow contractors assigned to adjacent containment wings. Davis was ex-Air Force, broad-shouldered, nervous eyes. Chun was former intelligence analyst, quiet, methodical. You hearing it? Davis asked, stirring coffee he wouldn't drink. At night, the hum. Chun nodded slowly. Starts around 0200. Lasts 30, 40 minutes. Then stops. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. You think it's the ventilation system? Structural resonance. I thought that too, Chun said. But I recorded it. Ran an audio analysis. She pulled out her phone. Strictly forbidden down here. But we were on level 1. Technically civilian space. Listen. She played a waveform. At first, just white noise. Then I heard it. That same deep hum from my dreams. But slowed down and amplified. Something else emerged. Rhythmic pulses organized in groups. 3 short, 2 long, pause. 3 short, 2 long, pause. That's not mechanical, I said. No, Chun agreed. It's not. Davis leaned in. I pulled archive reports. Goes back 30 years. Personnel assigned to Sub 9 consistently report auditory phenomena, shared dream imagery, and psychological distress. Average rotation length before requesting transfer, 6 weeks. How long have we been here? I asked. 11 days. The coffee tasted like metal after that. Back in C-Wing, I started noticing details I'd missed. The walls of C-07 cell, that dark, shimmering surface, had texture, patterns. When I looked directly at them, they appeared random, but in peripheral vision, they resolved into symbols. Geometric designs that hurt to focus on, that slid away from direct observation. Subject C, 07, remained motionless for hours at a time. But every shift, without fail, it would turn its head and stare at me through the observation window. And every time I felt that pressure, that sensation of something vast and cold pressing against the inside of my skull, testing for weaknesses. On day 9, something changed. I arrived for the 0600 shift to find Valdez already at the observation window, flanked by 2 people I didn't recognize. One wore a lab coat, civilian contractor badge. The other was military brass. Full colonel, no name tag. Reed. Valdez acknowledged me. This is Dr. Amara, Xenobiology, and Colonel Graves, UMBRA Oversight. Dr. Amara was Indian American, early 50s, with the exhausted look of someone who'd been underground too long. Mr. Reed, how would you characterize C-07's behavioral patterns? I chose my words carefully. Static, observational. It tracks movement but doesn't respond to stimuli. Interesting. She made a note. And have you experienced any psychological effects? Intrusive thoughts? Dreams? I dream, I admitted. Everyone does. Not like this. Graves interrupted. His voice was gravel, authority. We're seeing pattern correlation across personnel. Shared imagery. Symbols. Some of my people are drawing the same designs without having met. You seeing anything like that, Reed? I thought about the wall patterns. The symbols at the edge of vision. Nothing I can confirm, sir. He stared at me, didn't believe me, but he nodded. Keep it that way. If that changes, you report immediately. We're initiating Protocol Lazarus tomorrow. Things are going to get active down here. They left without explanation. I pulled up Protocol Lazarus in the database. Access denied. Even my UMBRA clearance wasn't enough. But I could check the equipment logs. Over the past 3 days, Sublevel 9 had received 14 portable EEG units, 6 sensory deprivation chambers, 40 liters of sodium pentothal, and something called a neural interface array. They were going to try to communicate with them. That night, day 9, my last normal night, I lay in my apartment and listened to the hum. It was louder now, clearer, and beneath it, I heard something new. Voices, not words. Not language as I understood it, but the impression of voices, many voices, speaking in unison. Beneath me, beneath the building, beneath the desert, deep, deep underground. I got up, poured water I couldn't taste, and stared at my reflection in the dark window. My eyes looked hollow. I'd lost weight. There were shadows under my cheekbones that hadn't been there 2 weeks ago. My phone buzzed. Text from Chun. Can't sleep. You awake? Yeah, I typed back. I need to show you something tomorrow. Before shift. Important. What is it? 3 minutes passed. Then I found the original facility blueprints. The real ones. Read. Sublevel 9 isn't the bottom. My hands went cold. How deep does it go? I don't know. The schematics cut off at level 15. But there are structural surveys from the 1950s. Seismic readings. They found cavities down there. Huge ones. Natural cave systems that extend for miles. And they're not natural. The formations are too regular. Too architectural. Read. I think they built Area 51 on top of something that was already here. I didn't respond. Couldn't, because in that moment, staring at my reflection, I saw something move in the darkness behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Empty apartment. Silent except for the hum. But on the wall, my contractor housing wall 3 miles from the base, I saw them, the symbols, faint like heat shimmer, geometric patterns that twisted and reformed as I watched. The same designs from C-07 cell. I blinked. They vanished. I didn't sleep that night. And when I reported for duty the next morning, day 10, the day Protocol Lazarus began, I walked into Sublevel 9 and knew, with absolute certainty, that everything was about to go catastrophically wrong. Part 3, target, 1,000 words. The elevator descent felt longer that morning. I counted the seconds. For minutes 30. That was wrong. It had always been exactly 4 minutes. The pressure changes came at different intervals, sharper, painful. and the hum was no longer just in my head. I could hear it through the elevator walls, resonating in the steel, growing louder as I descended. The doors open onto chaos barely contained. Personnel everywhere. Security teams in full tactical gear. Not the standard issue, but the heavy equipment. Ballistic shields, rifle-mounted cameras, those bulky helmets with neural dampening built into the lining. I'd seen that gear once before in Syria, dealing with an incident involving biological weapons and mass hysteria. Whatever Protocol Lazarus was, they expected things to go wrong. Chun intercepted me at the first checkpoint. Her eyes were bloodshot, face gray. "Did you get my messages?" It was one text. I sent 7. She grabbed my arm, pulled me aside. "I've been here since 0300. They moved up the timeline. They're starting the interface trials now, all subjects simultaneously. That's insane. The psychological bleed through alone. They don't care." Her voice dropped to a whisper. Graves brought in a specialist, some civilian contractor from a black-budget project called Threshold. Reed, I pulled his credentials. He's not military or scientific. His background is in anthropology, ancient languages, religious symbolism. My stomach dropped. Why would they need? Because they think these things are trying to communicate, have been trying for decades. And whatever they're saying, it's not random. She pulled out a folded paper, pressed it into my hand. This is from the acoustic analysis I ran. The pattern in the hum. It repeats every 93 minutes. Exact. That's not biological. That's a broadcast. I unfolded the paper. Waveform printouts, frequency analysis, and at the bottom, her handwritten notes. Matches architectural resonance frequencies found in megalithic structures. Gobekli Tepe, Karnak stones, Newgrange. Subsonic range designed to affect human neural activity. "They're not locked in here with us," Chin said. "We're locked in here with them. And they've been talking to us the whole time." Before I could respond, alarm shrieked. Not the standard alert. This was deeper, pulsing, the emergency lockdown signal. Red lights flooded the corridor. A voice over the intercom, Valdez strained. "All personnel to safe stations. Containment fluctuation in C-Wing. Repeat, containment fluctuation." The intercom cut to static. Then silence. Chun, and I ran. C-Wing security door was sealed. The blast shield deployed. Through the small reinforced window, I could see into my observation post. The monitors were active, but the feed showed nothing but visual noise, static patterns that moved and swirled. And C-07 cell was empty. "No," I breathed. "No, that's not possible." The EM field was never keeping it in. Someone said behind us. We turned. The specialist stood there, Dr. Kieran Thale, according to his badge. 60s, silver hair, disturbingly calm. Behind him, 2 soldiers stood with weapons raised, not aimed at us, but ready. The electromagnetic containment was theatrical. Thale continued, walking toward the observation window, to make us feel secure. But you can't imprison something that exists in more dimensions than you can perceive. He pressed his hand against the glass. They let us observe them. Let us run our tests. Let us believe we were in control. "Where is it?" I demanded. "Where it always been. Here." He gestured around us. They never left. This facility, the deep levels, we didn't excavate this. We discovered it, cleaned it out, put our labels and our technology over structures that predate human civilization by millennia. The floor vibrated, a deep, resonant tremor that I felt in my bones. "The caverns beneath us," Thale said, voice steady even as the lights flickered. "They extend for hundreds of miles. An entire subterranean complex. And it's inhabited. Has been long before Homo sapiens walked upright." He turned to face us. Area 51 isn't a research facility. It's an embassy, and we were never the diplomats. The blast door groaned, metal warping, impossible pressure from the other side. "Run," Chin whispered. The door exploded inward, not breached, dissolved. The metal simply came apart, edges crystallizing and fragmenting like glass. And through the opening came Subject C-07. But not alone. 4 of them. 5. moving in perfect synchronization, their bodies flowing like liquid muscle under those iridescent scales. They didn't walk, they glided, feet barely touching the ground, moving with a coordination that was utterly alien and horrifyingly efficient. The soldiers opened fire. The sound was deafening in the enclosed corridor. Muzzle flashes strobed. I saw a bullet strike, saw the impacts on scaled skin, but the creatures didn't slow. One raised its hand, elongated fingers spreading, and the nearest soldier's helmet cracked. Just cracked, no visible force. The composite material spiderwebbing as he screamed and collapsed, blood pouring from his ears. Chin pulled me backward. We ran. Behind us, more screams. Getting ready. I don't know what their plan is. I don't know if they want war or recognition, or simply for us to stop digging. The message I received, the agreement is ending. We tire of silence. Could mean anything, but I know what I saw in those ancient stone corridors beneath Area 51. I saw a civilization that makes ours look like a temporary camp. Infrastructure that has functioned for epochs while our nations rise and fall in centuries. Technology that doesn't need electricity because it works with the planet's electromagnetic field. With geothermal energy, with principles of physics we're just beginning to theorize. They don't need to invade. They're already here. Beneath every continent, every ocean floor, every mountain range. Their cities are larger than ours, deeper, older, and infinitely more patient. And they're connected. The hum isn't just communication. It's a network, a global biological internet that links every member of their species in ways we can't comprehend. When one knows, they all know. When one decides, it's a consensus of thousands. We are not alone on Earth. We never were. And the illusion that we're the dominant species is about to shatter. I'm making this video because I have to, because someone needs to prepare you for what's coming. The governments know, the major powers have known since the 1940s at least, but they've chosen secrecy, chosen to maintain the lie of human supremacy, while quietly negotiating with an older power. Those negotiations are failing. When the truth comes, and it will come whether through their choice or our inability to hide it any longer, society will fracture. Everything we believe about human history, about our place in the evolutionary chain, about our right to this planet, will be challenged. Some will deny it. Some will worship them as gods returned. Some will demand war, extermination, scorched earth policies against an enemy we can't reach and can't defeat. I'm asking you to be smarter than that. If you hear the hum, don't panic. They're not invading your mind. They're announcing presence, demanding acknowledgement. If you see symbols appearing, in caves, in dreams, carved into ancient structures we thought we understood, those are markers, territorial boundaries, warnings to dig no deeper in certain regions. If you encounter one, and you might, because they're surfacing more frequently now in preparation for something, don't run. Don't attack. They've had 1 million years to perfect reading human intention through body language and bioelectric fields. Show respect. Show awareness that you understand they were here first. Maybe that's enough. Maybe if enough of us acknowledge the truth, the agreement can be renegotiated. A real treaty this time, between equals, not between warden and prisoner. Or maybe it's too late. Maybe we pushed too far, dug too deep, and the only option left is for them to remind us, definitively and catastrophically, that we are guests on a planet we don't control. I don't have answers. I have nightmares and a truth that makes me a target. 3 hours ago, I saw a black SUV parked across from my building. Tinted windows. Government plates. They're watching. Wait to see if I'll release this. If you're seeing this, I did. And either I'm already gone or I'm about to be. But the truth is out now. The reptilians at Area 51 were never prisoners. They were diplomats, observers, reminders of a treaty we've been violating for decades. And the civilization beneath our feet, the real owners of Earth, are running out of patience. Share this. Save it. Because they'll scrub it. They'll call a hoax, deep fake, conspiracy lunacy. They'll discredit me, erase my records, make sure no one believes. But you'll know when the ground shakes in patterns, when caverns open and something ancient emerges, when the hum becomes loud enough that everyone hears it, and the symbols appear in every city simultaneously. You'll remember this video, and you'll understand. We were never alone. We were never in control. And they're done pretending we are. My name is Marcus Reed. This is my testimony. And if I disappear after this, look down, not up. The truth isn't in the stars. It's beneath your feet. Always has been. Turn off your lights tonight. Sit in silence. And listen. Really listen. You'll hear it. They want you to. Go to make contact. Publicly. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. Graves looked at her for a long moment, then nodded to the guard at the door. Take her to medical, psychiatric evaluation. They escorted Chen out. She didn't resist, just kept drawing those symbols, muttering under her breath in a language I didn't recognize. I never saw her again. They kept me at Nellis for 3 days. Debriefs, psychological evaluations, medical scans to check for neurocontamination. On the 4th day, I signed documents that made me legally invisible, 40 pages of classifications, non-disclosure agreements, and acknowledgement that violation would result in immediate imprisonment or termination of civilian contract with extreme prejudice. They gave me a cover story: industrial accident, chemical leak, facility evacuation, severance pay that would keep me comfortable for years if I stayed quiet. And they let me go. I drove back to civilian life in a daze, got an apartment in Phoenix, tried to sleep without hearing the hum, failed because it didn't stop. Every night that frequency, that resonance, growing stronger, not weaker. And I wasn't alone. Conspiracy forums filled with posts about strange sounds, unexplained vibrations, people waking up with symbols drawn on their walls that they didn't remember creating. 3 months after Area 51, there was an earthquake in California, 6.8 magnitude, epicenter deep underground. The news called it natural, but the seismic readings showed something else. The tremor originated from a cavity 2 miles down, and it propagated outward in a pattern, a geometric pattern, a message. 6 months later, a cave system in Kentucky collapsed, revealing chambers that predated Native American occupation by thousands of years. Archaeologists found carvings, symbols, the same ones from Sublevel 9, the same ones Chen was drawing. 1 year later, I received a package. No return address. Inside, a single photograph. It showed me, sleeping in my apartment, taken from inside my bedroom. On the back, written in perfect handwriting, "We know where you are. We have always known. Speak carefully." I burned it, moved to a new city, changed my name, but I still hear the hum. And now I see them, in crowds, just for a moment. A figure too tall, moving too smoothly, eyes too dark. They disappear when I focus, but they're there. They're everywhere. 2 months ago, there was a UN conference on deep earth mining regulations. 7 nations signed a treaty limiting drilling depth to 1 mile. No official reason given, but I know someone talked. Someone with clearance high enough to make world governments listen. The agreement is being renegotiated. But I don't think it's going to hold, because 3 days ago, I woke up to find symbols carved into my apartment wall. Not drawn, carved through paint and drywall into the concrete beneath. And this morning, I found this video camera on my doorstep. No note, just a camera, fully charged, memory card empty. I understand what they want now. They want me to tell you. Part 5, target, 1,000 words. So here it is. The truth they'll kill me for speaking. The entities we call reptilians, the creatures locked in Area 51's deep levels, were never prisoners. They were never visitors, never crashed aliens, never genetic experiments. They are Earth's original dominant species. They evolved here millions of years before mammals rose to prominence. While dinosaurs ruled the surface, they developed intelligence beneath it, in vast cave systems and underground oceans. They built civilizations in the dark, societies that adapted to subsurface life so completely that they became permanent. When the asteroid struck, when the surface burned and froze and burned again, they survived. Deep below, insulated by miles of stone, their cities endured. And when mammals finally crawled out of the ashes and began their own evolutionary climb, the reptilians watched. They've been watching ever since. Every myth about serpent gods and dragon kings, every legend of underworld rulers and creatures in the deep, those are cultural memories. echoes of encounters, of treaties made and broken, of humanity's ancestors negotiating with an older intelligence for the right to exist on the surface. We forgot. They didn't. And now we're breaking the ancient boundaries. Our minds go deeper every year. Our drills pierce caverns that have been sealed for millennia. Our sonar and seismic testing floods the deep earth with noise, disrupting ecosystems we can't see. Imagine living in your home for 1,000,000 years, only to have upstart neighbors moving upstairs and start jackhammering through the floor. That's what we are to them. Noisy children playing with dangerous tools in a house we don't own. Area 51 and facilities like it around the world, those aren't containment sites. They're embassies, communication points. The entities we hold aren't captives. They're ambassadors, volunteers who surface to maintain the agreement, to remind both sides that coexistence requires restraint. But we've mistaken their patience for weakness, their tolerance for submission, and that's ending. Dr. Thale was right about one thing. Protocol Lazarus was the breaking point, the attempt to forcibly interface with their neural patterns, to extract information through invasive procedures. That was torture, imprisonment, an act of war against a species that could collapse our cities from below if they chose. They're choosing restraint. For now. But the signs are everywhere if you know to look. Unexplained disappearances near cave systems. Sinkholes appearing in geometrically perfect patterns. Construction projects halted because workers report voices in the deep, or equipment that fails for no mechanical reason. That hum you sometimes hear at night. That low-frequency vibration that doctors call tinnitus or stress. That's them. Broadcasting. Coordinating. Getting ready. I don't know what their plan is. I don't know if they want war or recognition, or simply for us to stop digging. The message I received, the agreement is ending. We tire of silence. Could mean anything, but I know what I saw in those ancient stone corridors beneath Area 51. I saw a civilization that makes ours look like a temporary camp. Infrastructure that has functioned for epochs while our nations rise and fall in centuries. Technology that doesn't need electricity because it works with the planet's electromagnetic field. With geothermal energy, with principles of physics we're just beginning to theorize. They don't need to invade. They're already here. Beneath every continent, every ocean floor, every mountain range. Their cities are larger than ours, deeper, older, and infinitely more patient. And they're connected. The hum isn't just communication. It's a network, a global biological internet that links every member of their species in ways we can't comprehend. When one knows, they all know. When one decides, it's a consensus of thousands. We are not alone on Earth. We never were. And the illusion that we're the dominant species is about to shatter. I'm making this video because I have to, because someone needs to prepare you for what's coming. The governments know. The major powers have known since the 1940s at least. But they've chosen secrecy, chosen to maintain the lie of human supremacy, while quietly negotiating with an older power. Those negotiations are failing. When the truth comes, and it will come whether through their choice or our inability to hide it any longer, society will fracture. Everything we believe about human history, about our place in the evolutionary chain, about our right to this planet, will be challenged. Some will deny it. Some will worship them as gods returned. Some will demand war, extermination, scorched earth policies against an enemy we can't reach and can't defeat. I'm asking you to be smarter than that. If you hear the hum, don't panic. They're not invading your mind. They're announcing presence, demanding acknowledgement. If you see symbols appearing, in caves, in dreams, carved into ancient structures we thought we understood, those are markers, territorial boundaries, warnings to dig no deeper in certain regions. If you encounter one, and you might, because they're surfacing more frequently now in preparation for something, don't run. Don't attack. They've had 1,000,000 years to perfect reading human intention through body language and bioelectric fields. Show respect. Show awareness that you understand they were here first. Maybe that's enough. Maybe if enough of us acknowledge the truth, the agreement can be renegotiated. A real treaty this time, between equals, not between warden and prisoner. Or maybe it's too late. Maybe we pushed too far, dug too deep, and the only option left is for them to remind us, definitively and catastrophically, that we are guests on a planet we don't control. I don't have answers. I have nightmares and a truth that makes me a target. 3 hours ago, I saw a black SUV parked across from my building. Tinted windows. Government plates. They're watching. Wait to see if I'll release this. If you're seeing this, I did. And either I'm already gone or I'm about to be. But the truth is out now. The reptilians at Area 51 were never prisoners. They were diplomats, observers, reminders of a treaty we've been violating for decades. And the civilization beneath our feet, the real owners of Earth, are running out of patience. Share this. Save it, because they'll scrub it. They'll call a hoax deepfake, conspiracy lunacy. They'll discredit me, erase my records, make sure no one believes. But you'll know when the ground shakes in patterns, when caverns open and something ancient emerges, when the hum becomes loud enough that everyone hears it, and the symbols appear in every city simultaneously. You'll remember this video, and you'll understand. We were never alone. We were never in control. And they're done pretending we are. My name is Marcus Reed. This is my testimony. And if I disappear after this, look down, not up. The truth isn't in the stars. It's beneath your feet. Always has been. Turn off your lights tonight. Sit in silence. And listen. Really listen. You'll hear it. They want you to.